The National Arena League regular season is nearing its end here in Week 10, and the playoff scenario is interesting. We've got Week 10 highlights and a visit with the commissioner on the state of the league right here on Around the NAL. Let's start with the Honorable Idaho Horsemen traveling to Loveland for a rematch against the Colorado Spartans. Once again, the Horsemen have Austin Schaefer not traveling, so Vincent Espinoza takes the helm. Opening drive for the Horsemen takes a while, but finishes in a turnover on downs. The Spartans' potent pass attack is still potent. Stephen Newbold catches the bomb for a tutty, adding to his league lead. Luis Ferreira hits the PAT, 7-zip Spartans. And what have we here? We don't show kickers that aren't named Dio Weber. What is this? A deuce! Luis Ferreira hits a deuce, and oh, that's nice. How would Idaho respond? Feed the hot hand. Espinoza hits Kyler Henson on a deep ball. Later, on fourth down, it's a low throw, but Henson goes down and gets it for a Horseman touchdown. Colorado's next possession, Whitaker is picked off by Tayson Harden, who goes all the way for a pick six and gets a little love from his brother Dorian. And don't look now, peeps. The Horsemen have a lead on the road. 12-9. Coach Shaw tells Whitaker, we want points. Don't give Horsemen points. I got you, Coach. Very next play, Whitaker goes deep to Mr. Reliable, and Newbold has another. And ooh, that's nice. That's real nice. On the ensuing kickoff, it's Rick Rumpf ripping the ball out of the hands of the Horseman return man. Are you kidding me? What a play, Rick Rumpf on 4th and 6. Whitaker with time, and holy smokes. Guys, there's almost 10 minutes left in the second quarter, and Newbold already has a hat trick. He's on pace to having 9 TD receptions in this game. 23-12 Spartans. Horseman trying to come back. It's Espinoza going deep for Henson, but it's picked off by Tavarius Thompson, who takes the ball all the way into Idaho territory. Spartans facing another 4th down. Convert again to Khalil Hayes. Result, a pitch to Ladarius Skelton, who extends the Spartans' lead. Horseman next possession, the ball just doesn't bounce right. The ball bounces right off the receiver and is picked off. Wow. Rick Rumpf with his second takeaway and a nose for the ball. 2 plays later, the Horsemen pick it right back off. Brandon Scott with a 3rd pick in 2 games against the Spartans. Idaho in business, but they would run out of time before the half. Second half, Whitaker slings a bullet to Deontay Rarick, who shakes the tackle and runs in for the score. Horseman possession. The pocket collapses. The throw is rushed. It's picked off by Travion Mosby and taken to the hizzy. But the Zebra calls illegal hands to the face on Tony Thompson, the owner of the Spartans, who's like, do you know how much money I spend to keep a product on the field? Zebra's like, owners aren't immune to penalty, my guy. We love Tony Thompson. What a guy. How many teams have their owners suit up to play? Where's AB? 2 plays later, Tony Thompson forces Espinoza out of the pocket and on the run for the incomplete pass. This owner can play. Where's AB? Next play, Espinoza looking for Calvin Lowe, but it's picked off by Tavarius Thompson again, his second. The Thompsons are balling now. Spartans possession, and Jason Whitaker gives a picture-perfect rainbow of a touch pass to Stephen Newbold for another touchdown. Absolutely incredible throw. Next Idaho possession. Pocket breaks down, and Rick Rumpf gets a 3rd takeaway. His second INT for the day, and turnovers are just plaguing the Horsemen. A few plays later, Coach Shaw calls a jet sweep to Deontay Rarick, who weaves in for the score. Fred Shaw mixing it up now, and the route continues. Horsemen drive the field and have a 4th and goal at the 1. And the Spartan diet includes a sack lunch for the owner of the team himself. Tony Thompson says, not in my house. Literally, if I pay the rent, you're eating turf in my backfield.
Giving himself a nice little bonus right there.
That's right. Does he get the sack bonus for that?
I think well, it's up to him.
See, AB, was that so hard? This is NAL football, folks. Tony Thompson Respect to you, my guy. But I also got to mention that Chris Reynolds, the head coach of the Idaho Horsemen, who is their owner, is also a solid, respectable gentleman who loves the game and proves it by his sacrifice. On another fourth down, another Spartans conversion. Skelton takes a direct snap and spins into the end zone for his second tutty. And to prove that nothing was bouncing Idaho's way on the kickoff, the ball goes off the bar. Jason Harden is able to get it, but Stephen Newbold adds another skill set to his highlight reel with a hit. At the end, the Horsemen are faced with a 4th and 26. And Espinoza on a design play throws the ball off the rebound net, and Henson catches it for a touchdown. Can you see the interesting aspect these rebound nets add yet? The Spartans glide to a 3rd straight win and are only a game behind Carolina for 2nd place. Idaho is eliminated from playoff contention but can play spoiler versus Sioux City next week. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest today is a very special person in the good sense of the word special. He is the commissioner of the National Arena League, Mr. Todd Walkenhorst himself. Welcome, Commissioner.
I appreciate you getting on here with such a fine introduction there.
I know you're busy. You've got a lot on your plate. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but there's just a few questions that me and other fans would like to have answered.
Sure.
Maybe you don't have an answer, maybe you do, but we'll shoot from the hip here and hopefully hit something. If you were to include the playoffs, it's either like the halfway point or a little further than the halfway point of the season of what we might call actually a rebuild season for the NAL. How do you feel about it so far?
Yeah, I think that's fair to call it a rebuild effort. I mean, it's not a secret that, things got shaked up or shook up, I suppose, to, use my proper English, not just in our league, but in this industry this year. And it was seismic, we're not going to lie. It was a lot of teams and a lot of leagues. And, it's probably one of the largest shakeups that we had seen, in recent memory. And we discussed that. I think you and I have discussed that even, before the season started. So this isn't going back and revising history at all. I think we knew what we were going to deal with. We had some feelings how it would play out. And, however it played out, we were going to have to obviously deal with it in that way. So be honest with you, we feel decent about some things, and obviously we don't feel good about some things as well. I mean, we're not going to sit here and say this was a perfect season. By no means was it. But we also knew we had some very big obstacles to navigate through this year. About building houses, I've heard, right?
Yeah.
Build a decent foundation, right? Then we work on the rest of the house. If that foundation isn't good, there's no point in building the rest of the house. It's just not going to last too long. It'd be a short-term fix. So that was kind of what we wanted to do. There are a lot of things, believe it or not, that really aren't, visible to the public. It's more for the organizations. It's more in our operations. It's more in the officiating. It's more in the presentation, having all of our streams on the air, that kind of stuff that is going to help us long term. And then we can work on some of the other issues. I've said it before that obviously 5 teams long term is not sustainable, especially in our footprint. That's not the plan going forward. If this is what I plan on rolling out next year, we might as well not do it. I mean, that's just not a good business model by any means. So we do plan on expansion. We believe there are teams that are looking probably for other homes. I'll just leave it at that. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket surgeon probably to figure that out right now across this industry. We've had talks with teams in other leagues that have indicated they might be looking for changes. And that's just part of the business. We won't get specifics into that. There's NDAs and there's just business practices and whatnot. So, for us this year, we've done a lot of good things. Our job is to give players professional opportunities and coaches, try to keep it professional on the field. A lot of our games have been very competitive and looked good. And, that's one thing we are proud of. I know, the Oklahoma thing is out there, and people have questioned, what we have done on that. Our goal on that was to obviously want that team to compete for the entire season. I mean, that was the number one goal. Yeah. But we also knew, there's challenges there, that's no secret. But we wanted to let those players have opportunities. And, we got 4 quality games out of them. We folded a couple teams before the season. You saw that. Mm-hmm. And the reason was because they weren't as viable, right? Oklahoma was viable. We had a lot of athletes out there. We wanted to get them opportunities. Unfortunately, they're not going to play more this year. But the last game they played, Ducon, they took Omaha inside the 1 minute warning. And when I lose an 0-4 team that's that competitive, yeah, that's disappointing to me. So, we got some failures, but we've got some successes. But I think if you really look at the football, it's going to be good quality football. And yeah, obviously I want to expand beyond 5 teams and present it to more markets and fans next year.
It's probably not accurate for you to say how many teams have actually contacted you, but if you had to guess how many viable, good, solid foundational teams have contacted you about possible expansion into the NAL?
The word contact, right, is loose, right? Sometimes it's, back channels. Sometimes it's, people, talking on whatever. I will say this, that I believe we will have 8 to 10 solid teams next year. That's not what I started with this year. I mean, and we knew that. I can have more than that, but again, the criteria is going to be having them solid.
Gotcha.
We can't do what we did this year. A lot of people blame, they're, hey, did you ever thought about vetting a team and all that stuff? No, we never thought about. No, of course we did, right? But you got to go back and look at what this landscape was during this past offseason, which again was unique. Okay, the National Arena League obviously changed, their members.
Dramatically.
Some of these teams came from Champions Indoor Football, right? There were teams going to other leagues right away. Some left during the season before they even ended their current season, announced that they were leaving, right? I'm not going to name names, but everybody knows who they are, right? Some that were a little less visible. In general, we did not necessarily think that was going to go exactly as announced. We're seeing some things out there based on the teams. I'm not speculating, that it did not go as announced. So, based on that, what did we want to do? We thought that in 2025, it would be different. We didn't think it'd be the same landscape and teams or leagues playing, just based on what was promised out there. So we kind of had to play. What do we do in 2024? Do we just not play football? Well, that wasn't an option. We got teams that have been around. So this was the best option. We tried to put leagues together that would get us to 2025. I'm not saying that we're trying to fail or anything, but we're trying to stay stable. Again, give those opportunities to players to play, keep those markets going, and then again build that foundation a little bit so we would be in a better position come 2025 for some landing spots for some teams.
And obviously you've faced many, many challenges, one of which is having to adjust to the Oklahoma Flying Aces going dormant for the rest of the season. That means some in-season scheduling changes that falls upon you. Can you give us an idea of what that process is like for you?
It's not good. It's not easy, right?
Sure.
Because there's travel, there's arena availability, and whatever. You're trying to keep the football component too. I worked in the NFL for several years at one point too. So I have, that football, I would love to have the parity of, 5 road games, 5 away, and the scheduling being balanced. We had a very good formula in the NFL, the way that they, do their scheduling. I'd love to do that, but, that's an A in our brand, not an F. It's the NAL, not the NFL. I don't have all the resources that they have. So, it's difficult. And a couple of those other Oklahoma games that were supposed to be played as home games for Oklahoma will likely not be played.
Given that there are only 5 teams remaining in NAL competition, what will the playoff format look like?
4 out of 5 teams in the playoffs seems a little odd. I like it again for the football, so all the games are a little more meaningful down the road. But when you get into 4 teams making it just because that's a fun number, when you have 5 and then you throw in the travel that's associated with that, especially when you look at the map of our league, we have to figure out that makes sense. That's the most painful thing with this job, to be honest with you. And one of the most difficult things is that, I could look at, you got to look at all these things in 2 ways. Quite honestly, one is like the financial way as a business. I got small businesses. That's what these teams are, and running and making sure they stay viable and either make as much money as they can. That's what everything's are doing, right? Make as much money as you can, but a lot of times it's also not losing as much money as we can, right?
Yes.
Then the other one is obviously the football side, and a lot of times those things don't run parallel. My best football decisions aren't my best business decisions. My best business decisions are not my best football decisions. If it was, it'd be a heck of a lot easier to do this. It'd be like, okay, yeah, win-win. We do it that way. And then sometimes it's tough because I got coaches that are owners too, and sometimes it's tough for them to wear both hats too. So, that's one of the challenges really in the day to day. I know there's people that think that you're not really commissioner, you're just a figurehead, you're just whatever. And I'm like, I do a lot of work if I'm not, I know that, but there's a lot of calls that, I just got to sit down sometimes and go, hey, look, business and football do not match here. I hate it. Trust me, I hate that. But we have to, number one, if the teams aren't in business going forward, that's just obviously very short-sighted. Again, we talk about building that foundation. So we got to do things that are in the best for the long term of these organizations.
When you say long term, one of the things to consider is your geographical footprint of your league. Mm-hmm. As commissioner, do you deliberately seek out specific markets to fit a preconceived geographical footprint that you'd like to see? Or do you just take opportunities as they come when teams reach out?
It's both. Now, let me give you an example. Obviously, if we look at a map, I have Idaho, right? And I have Carolina. And they're not close to each other, and they're not close to the center. So, I'm going to go and see what else is out near those two, because they're good partners, and we want to make sure that those markets, I know that, if I don't have any other teams near Carolina, they're not going to be able to afford to stay in this league. And same with Idaho, right? So there I am looking for some, what's available in those areas that makes sense. Then others are reaching out to us. I'm not as concerned in the Midwest and Central, but I want to add those teams, and then we get the piece of when somebody reaches out to us, does it make sense to us? That's one of the components in our footprint too. I would not be likely to add, just because Ricky Burt's, used to, I'll pick on him here, have a team in Alaska. If Alaska reached out to me right now, I probably would not be interested in adding Alaska just to add that team. Even though they told me I had 2 teams up there, right? Fairbanks and whatever other cities in Alaska. I haven't been there in a long time, right? I wouldn't do that. That wouldn't make sense right now. So that's an extreme case, but that kind of gives you an example, how we would look at that. But it is a priority that I have partners that went down this road with us, so to try to help, the Idahos and the Carolinas, and look for some options for them that makes their life a little easier financially.
Well, because I'm a little bit of a prude and like to poke the bear a little bit.
Go for it. Yeah. I like getting poked. So we're,
can you at least tease us as if there is options that you're talking to in the Northwest and the Southeast? Is there interest there at this point?
I will say, because I don't like input. No. And I'm not good at geography. So, there's actually surprising to me even how much interest we've had reaching out to us. Really, I guess when you look at it, that shouldn't be surprising. It's a testament to, our owners and our teams, and not just the 6 I have right now or 5, the ones that even, started with us, have been with us and left. I know sometimes the fans all want to, have animosity, I guess, towards the leagues after they leave and whatnot. But, we owe it to those teams that were part of this league previously, both of the leagues, that combined. A lot of their success, wouldn't have happened without, those years leading up to it too. So if that kind of answers your question, maybe we'll see some of those teams again. It's very preliminary stages. Some of those talks, we just kind of know where those targets are. Obviously, I think if you're in a league currently, the natural instinct is to make that work. It's obviously easier, that would make more sense. So, we respect that as well. I am pleasantly surprised by the sheer number and quality of franchises at this point. And there's some that, weren't even on my radar. So, I think, and I don't want to be overly optimistic about it. I want to be realistic, usually when we discuss things like that, I like to keep it real, I guess. But for me, the frustrating thing, I think I've said to you before and others is, I want the season to be over just for you get stuck up on.
Yeah.
I hope you're safe.
It's my wife. I'm definitely not safe.
Lock the doors. No. For me, I want the season to be over just because the things that I can do to improve, these leagues and stuff is easier for me during the off season. That's what I really do with our work. I can't do a whole lot except for, put out fires and stuff during the season. So it's a little tougher and more frustrating for me. So I'm actually kind of excited, as much as I love the football, to get past that and work on the business piece.
Really, for a lot of the fans out there that want to down the NAL for for some of the, I guess, imperfections that are happening this year. Let me give you just a little bit of perspective, because this analogy of the foundation is a very good analogy. I've done foundations before in building homes.
Yeah.
And when you are working on a foundation, you're dealing with rough terrain, torrential rains, you're dealing with dirt, rock everywhere. It's dirty. It's extremely.
And you may not know what you're going to find till you start digging sometimes
exactly.
too.
Exactly. You don't know if you're going to find a sinkhole. You don't know how much you're going to have to compact the soil before actually pouring concrete upon it. So even though the National Arena League has been around for a few years, there's been a complete overhaul of personnel that are actually operating the National Arena League. So it is a foundational year. And yes, it was always meant to be dirty, but until you actually work in the mud, work through the dirt, you can't have a solid foundation to build on. So stay tuned for next year's National Arena League, because you'll see a lot of things different.
Well, I appreciate that. And one of the things to note, though, is, again, it's not the first year of the NAL. They've been around several years now, and not a lot of leagues can say that. So as ugly as it is and all the dirt and warts, what they have accomplished is actually something, to be proud of, and is kind of an enigma in this league, or in this business, and the other thing I always point out, is, I always enjoy they should go to the IFL. They should go to the IFL. They should go to the IFL. I love the Indoor Football League. I love what they've done. I know Todd Tyron, when I started kind of in indoor, was in Omaha with the Beef when they were in the IFL. So, I mean, I'm familiar with the league. I know what they've done. Obviously, they have their roller coaster. I don't like comparing. Oh, they had that happen, so that makes it okay here. But they've obviously figured out some good things. And, anything that they could do that we can learn from, I'm not too proud to, try to implement some of that. But we do know that it's a little different as far as the scale of operating expenses go. And we're upfront about that, and that's really the difference between the two leagues. But I think there's space for both of those. I think there's markets that works better for. And if they could do that, that's great. I mean, if I had a team that said, hey, we're going to be more successful, make more money business-wise in the IFL, all means, I think, we'd want to see them do that. Now, hopefully they have some. If it looks like it would work better, I think it makes sense for both of us. I don't have, any reason that both of those leagues would not coexist together. They are different, and I think it's different ownership, a different ownership philosophy. So I'm still excited about the NAL. Quite frankly, the NAL is here instead of the CIF when that, I guess, kind of merger happens, because it's a good brand, and they've had, despite, some things that, have happened in their league as well. It's good professional looking play for the most part. And that's the standard there. So I'm looking forward. I'm glad that the people that made those decisions did bring me in to help them, move that along. And I hope that I can do that, because I do think we have some pretty good partners that, want to do that, because it'd be easy to have been out of it at this point if they did not want to do that.
Which makes great sense. And I want to thank you, Todd, for coming on, because I know that you're a busy guy. I mean, Mondays are probably some of your most hectic days. So for you to come on a Monday, even, I just want to.
I forgot it was even Monday. That's how the days have been going. But yeah, you're right. I actually
every day's a Monday.
Right? Like, it is Monday. Yeah. How about that? So yeah. So, but no, I appreciate you taking the time, and when we can share that information with people, and everybody's always like, oh, transparency stuff too. Well, I mean, obviously there's things we can't share until they're done.
Sure.
We're not going to speculate on things, but we are optimistic sometimes, trying to keep things running, when it comes to individual franchises too and everything. So the fact is the fans are interested.
Yeah.
If we didn't have all that interaction, that's a whole different problem, if nobody cared, when things go bad or good. So that's a real positive sign. So I'm happy that we have that. I know I'll never make everybody happy. I mean, that's just, life.
The life of
we're going to go a life of everything, right? Trust me. We're going to do everything we can, though, to grow this. And, if it fails, then I failed, and, and that would be a very bad thing. But, as far as what I think I know, and as long as I've been doing this in several leagues, high school level all the way up to the NFL, I feel pretty good with what we got in place.
That's good. And I do want to comment that for a commissioner that's had to deal with a lot of this stuff already this season, you look vibrant. Your positivity is very attractive. It's a good thing. And
right. Thank you.
It's neat. I feel confident that we're going in the right direction with your hand on the steering wheel. So thank you for that.
It's a great business. It's a great sport. You know that. I mean, nobody's in this for the money. I mean, that's not a secret.
Definitely not.
So there's a lot of passionate people about this business, and that's what makes it fun. And then on the football side, getting players opportunities, getting coaches opportunities, seeing them advance, and giving them those opportunities. That's the football part that, ever since they start playing, in Pee Wee through high school, you always want to see players get better, see teams improve. And that's what the sport's all about. So if we can do that, the more we can do that, and hopefully we can continue doing that, that's really what's in it for us.
Well, I appreciate your time. His name is Todd Walkenhorst, the commissioner of the National Arena League. Thank you so much for taking the time. We look forward to talking to you again around playoff time if you're interested.
Look forward to it. Absolutely. Anytime. Appreciate everything you guys do.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Have a good one.
All right.
Let's go back to some highlights. We have a rematch of the Battle of I-29. This time, it's the Sioux City Bandits hosting on Red Owls night. With a new QB veteran Burlon Reed at the helm, the Bandits had scored 6 points in their last 6 quarters leading up to this game. Offensive adjustments were needed. Irv Strobing and Scott Jensen made those adjustments. Result? First drive, it's Burlon Reed on the free play, getting a chunk of yardage for the first down. And after a nearly 10-minute drive, the give is to Mr. Reliable, Drew Prohaska, who dashes into the end zone for an early Bandits lead. While the Bandits drive took about 10 minutes, the Beef drive lasted about 10 seconds. As Tommy Armstrong goes for a house call, 40 yards on their first play from scrimmage. Game tied at 6. Longtime Bandit Ty Knight is now coaching Omaha's defense. And Cam Hunt listened. He punches the ball out and the Beef recover on the 1-yard line. Death, taxes, and Bandits turnovers inside their opponent's 5. Beef ball. At the very next play, it's a high snap, and the long arm of the law, masquerading as a Bandit, Devin Groenhagen, recovers the ball for a touchdown, putting Sioux City back on top. Next Beef drive, the league's leading rush attack turns to Jeff Mack, who scores against the former attack. Game tied at 12. Next Bandits possession, Cam Hunt forces another turnover on the blitz, rushing the throw, and Ponce de Leon gets his 3rd pick of the season. Jeff Mack takes the handoff, and Carlton Watkins gives what Braden Butler calls the spine buster. And Coach Loban loves it. That would lead to a turnover on downs as the Bandit D stiffens. Bandits get inside the 5 again. Would they turn it over? With 1 second left in the half, Scott Jensen gives the play to Reed. It's the deceptive T formation, and Reed gets the push for the touchdown on the last play of the half. Bandits up 18-12 at the half, and Coach Tatum making the Zebras laugh. Hear that rhyme? I should do that all the time. Second half, it's Prohaska going airborne, trying to get the Bandits to take flight. Beef would force a 4th down, and the field goal attempt sails wide left. Returned by Trey Dudley Giles, who seems as hard to tackle as an actual Beef. Great return by that man. And somewhere during the play, you could probably hear Irv Strobing's sarcasm.
Look at that tackling. Stupendous.
Beef have their own 4th down. Sioux City's pass rush gets the ball back for the Bandits. On that drive, it's Burlon Reed directing his receiver and finding the franchise Fred Bruno for the Tutty 24-12 Bandits. And the defense would answer. As one more punches the ball out and Carlton Watkins recovers. Earlier in the game, Reed threw a pick on a Cam Hunt blitz. This time, he evades Hunt's blitz and could go all the way. Touchdown Sioux City, and he would complete the 2-point PAT to Brandon Shepard, and the Bandits lead by 20 with under 10 minutes to play. Could they snap Omaha's 17-game win streak? Could Omaha lose for the first time in 2 years? It certainly looks that way. The Beef knew they must strike quickly. So Armstrong goes deep, connects with Daquan Dudley, whose speed and athleticism has them score 45 yards on the first play of the drive. And Cam Hunt won't stop blitzing, rushing the throw from Reed, the ball short, forcing the field goal attempt on Munson, which is missed, and the Beef have the ball back with just over 5 to play. And Tommy Armstrong is giving Jason Whitaker a run for the title, king of the shovel pass, moving the beef downfield. 3 plays later, Tommy Armstrong is backpedaling and slings a beautiful pass to Troy Evans Jr. for the touchdown. 32-26, Bandits with 3 minutes to play. The Bandits on 3rd and 3 have a ruling of a completed pass for a first down at the 1-minute warning, which seemingly would all but seal the game. But the call is challenged, and the Zebras rule it incomplete, forcing a 4th down. A 58-yard field goal would be attempted. It's kicked to the side, bobbled by Daquan Dudley, who recovers nicely, dashing through the special teams for a really nice return. Irv Strobing challenges the play, and the Zebras rule the ball dead at the 5-yard line because the ball hit the wall. More rhymes, more time. 56 seconds and 45 yards to go, down by 6. And Tommy Armstrong goes deep, and Troy Evans Jr. makes an impressive adjustment for the ball on a 42-yard reception, putting the Beef first and goal at the 3. Next play, it's Armstrong stretching for the goal line, but Carlton Watkins saves the touchdown. He's down at the 1. Next play, Tommy fakes to Mack and dives for the end zone, tying up the game at 32 with only 9 seconds to play. The I-29 rivalry is insane. Omaha would go for 2, and Armstrong finds Correll Colmoose in the back of the end zone for the 34-32 lead. Wow! Bandits at their own 20. 9 seconds to play. Down by 2. It's Reed dancing, sidesteps between defenders and goes deep and is intercepted by Trey Dudley Giles. But wait, Zebras call illegal contact. The Bandits will get one last chance on an untimed down. Amundsen to try a 40-yard field goal for the win in the most dramatic fashion imaginable. And it's wide right, but the ball is live off the net, and it is recovered by Terrence Jackson, and the Omaha Beef complete a 20-point comeback with under 10 minutes to play to continue an 18-game win streak and put them at 6-0 as the Bandits lose their 3rd straight, falling to 500, but look much better on offense. Will Omaha ever lose? But for now, they sit atop the standings, and if Colorado wins at Carolina next week, the Beef will host the championship game. If Colorado and Sioux City win next week, the Spartans, Cobras, and Bandits will all be 4-3, each clawing to be the other team represented in the National Arena League Championship. So we'll preview those games next time here on Around the NAL.